So hello and welcome to another Raggy's beer review. So today we're going over to, I think it was Morrison's where I got this from. I think it was. And it's Brew York and Fierce Beers Odin's Gaze, a New England IPA, weighing in at 5.2%. It says, hazy juicy Neipa, bursting with citrus pine and Norse Godworthy boldness. Do like these breweries. Fierce Beer, you know, one of the top Scottish breweries. Them and Brewtoon for me, bloody hell, absolutely miles ahead of most, and certainly well ahead of, you know, the big brewery up there. That these days, you know, whatever their punk IPA background was, they aren't the brewery they were. So, hazy and gold, and this New England IPA pays tribute to Odin, the All-Father. I absolutely love Marvel films. Bursting with centennials, piney bite, citrus zest, Hydo 7's tropical fruit, and Strata's dank berry notes. It delivers a juicy aromatic explosion worthy of Valhalla. Smooth and pillowy on the palate. Each sip is a sog of bold flavour and Norse legend, crafted for warriors and wanderers alike. This brew channels Viking spirit into a modern ale of mythical proportions. Skal, if that's what it says. Me and Mrs. Raggy, and hopefully Andy and Angela, are thinking of doing a trip up to York next year. Taking the car, was going to get the train, but the train prices are ridiculous. So we're going to take a car. One of us will drive, and so we're taking one car. We'll split the parking, obviously, in the petrol, which is what you do anyway with mates. And we're going to go to Brew York overnight, or maybe 2 nights. So looking forward to it. You know, I wanted to go when we went to York the other year. Didn't get. There's this bloody marathon going off, and never got anywhere near Brew York. It closed before we even got there on a Sunday. Absolutely gutted. So we'll make sure we go up on a Friday and Saturday, come back on Sunday, and then we'll make sure we're there for 2 good nights. Do both the Brew York tap rooms. Probably do Trembling Madness, the Thornbridge place. You know, there's a few bucket list pubs and tap rooms in that area of the world. So as we can see, it's a lovely yellowy orange pour. Here we go. From supermarkets on a 4 for free, which is pretty much a standard thing now. In some ways, they're all working in collusion, and in other ways, yeah, it keeps it standard, you know. But aren't supermarkets supposed to fight against each other for your money? Yeah, rightio. Or work in collusion. Yeah, that's more likely. So, tropical, a quite subtle tropical aroma on this, to be fair. Just had the grandkids all day, so yeah, they've just gone home now, bless them. And no, it's time for a beer, definitely. Before we chill out, watch film, and then bed, and then back to the work week again. But you know, I do what I do. And I kind of at one stage started at 7, finished at 3. Now, even in the winter months, I've got lights. It doesn't bother me. I'm not making too much noise, which will piss the neighbours off. There's work I can do where I'm not upsetting anybody at any time. And even in the dark, I can do the work. But it gives me the chance to get away early every single Friday, which extends my weekend. So a tough week, but a longer weekend. Brilliant. Who does not want that, you know, in life? So yeah, we are certainly looking forward to getting over to Brew York, doing that. You know, for me. I've done my bucket list breweries in Cornwall and Devon, and I need to wrap up York. Leeds and Manchester are obviously on the cards at some stage. Going back up to Whitby and doing Whitby and the town centre of Whitby is another thing as well on our journey round Britain. And yeah, you know, things you've got to do before you get too old and not be able to drink and, you know, sat at home bored shitless watching TV all day. I couldn't do it. I will always be a busy person. Even today, I've done like 3 loads of dishwashing. I've done normal washing, cleaned up. Would have done more if I wasn't looking after the kids. It's smooth. The pine is very, very subtle. There is tropical taste. Again, subtle. It's there, but it is subtle. Probably brewed for the masses. You know, I mean, as for the name of the beer, Odin's Gaze. Oh, bless me. Did actually catch it. Did catch it this time. I already smashed 1 glass on the floor today. Yeah, and it cost me a £5. Gutted. Only. But yeah, I actually got it just before my wedding vow renewal as well. Am I annoyed with myself? Yeah, just a bit. Oh, it's tasting well. It really is tasting well. Nice and easy drinking, refreshing. Oh, Brew York, you know, these days getting more beers into supermarkets. It's funny because the kind of some of the old guard of supermarket beers have disappeared and melted away. Marston's and Green King beers, there was a hell of a lot of them at one stage, and again they seem to have backed off and disappeared. Marston's really, you know, so now we're looking at the bigger craft beer breweries out there, and the ones that take the gamble of putting their beers in supermarkets, and it is a gamble. You know, there's not a lot of profit to be made in putting beers in supermarkets. Anybody in the trade knows that. I certainly know that. I've been told by multiple sources who work in the brewing industry, and obviously I worked in the retail industry, so I know myself about prices and stuff. But obviously, name recognition. You know, if you haven't heard of Brew York, you'll drink this beer. Nice. You'll look at the 4 reference on the front, and you're like, "Ooh, that sounds good." Being a Marvel fan, you'll drink it. You know, it's a crowd pleasing beer. You know, and it gets people talking about the name Brew York and Fierce Beer, and for that, yeah, it's interesting. It puts it out there. So let's give it a final whirl. Flavours are coming more pronounced now. It might be the coldness, you know, because it is cool in there tonight. I'm not saying it's freezing, but it's cool. 8 degrees, so not as cold as it has been. 4 degrees this morning outside. Bloody freezing. We're getting to that time of the year where the traces of summer disappear and the cold winter starts to appear. You know, everything's cut down, the greenery and the flowers disappear. It's just left what's left of leaves, and it goes to brown, basically soil, until obviously March, and then things start to, February, March, when things start to burst forward again. And you know, being a gardener, yeah, it's a tough time of the year to work, but there is a lot of heavy work to do this time of the year. to catch up on stuff, to plant stuff, to clean gardens up. I look after 12 acres of gardens. There's a lot to clean up. There's a lot to put right, to get looking good, to keep it looking good as long as you can into the new season, until it gets on top of you again, which it does. You know, there's no one's a miracle worker, and yeah, and doing whatever you can to make it work, and then focusing only on the elements that the powers that be want you to focus on, not the whole caboodle. Whereas in the winter months, thankfully, I can focus on everything. Oh, it's a New England IPA. There's a nice bit of bite on the back end just there. So, Brew York. It is a supermarket beer. We must remember this for the money you pay. It's not an IPA or a New England IPA that you're paying £6 to £7 for. You know, you're not paying that. You're paying £3.50. Getting it on the 4 for 3 deal brings the price down to about £2.70, £2.80 a can. So we must remember this. And I do see people slag off supermarket beers, but the profit margins are ridiculously crap. And the beer, you know, is brewed in a fashion for the supermarkets. You're not going to chuck everything at a beer and then get it in the supermarkets and lose on every single beer you do, because you won't be in business very long if you did. Nonetheless, it delivered on what it says, more subtle than I would have expected, but it did deliver. You know, in the end, it's a nice beer. It's a nice looking beer. It's got a couple of good brewery names on there, and I've been yakking. Out of 5, for me, a good 4.3 out of 5. Would I drink it again? Probably not. You know, it's one of them beers for me, being a beer reviewer. I'll do once, I'm happy with it, and move on. Thank you for watching.